just feel the feelings of what you want to experience and embody the energy and the personality and the self-image of your future self. And that is going to get you there.
Hello, my loves. Welcome back to the Lavendaire Lifestyle podcast. It's Eileen. Today's episode is a good one. It's on manifesting and becoming your ideal future self. So you definitely want to listen to this if you want to learn how to truly transform your life from the inside out. Our guest today is Mimi Bouchard. Mimi Bouchard is an entrepreneurial trailblazer who defied convention by making radical changes to pursue her vision of creating a new type of audio, activations, offered on her top-rated app, Superhuman Activations. Hailing as one of the OG personal development bloggers from almost a decade ago, Mimi has accumulated over 250,000 followers across her social media platforms, with her journey to success resonating deeply with her audience. Superhuman, her groundbreaking luxury motivational audio app, was founded just 2 years ago. It has quietly amassed tens of thousands of subscribers and millions in yearly revenue, including high-profile devotees like Miranda Kerr, and it has changed the way we think about meditation. Designed to fit seamlessly into daily life, activations are functional audios designed to help subscribers make the most of moments every day to live the life they've always imagined. Mimi has become a new pragmatic motivational voice for women globally, earning comparisons to Mel Robbins for her no-nonsense advice and measurable results. Mimi's debut book is launching in spring 2025 with Hay House. Before we get into the interview, a little bit more on activations. So activations are a new type of audio that are a mix between a motivational podcast, cinematic music, and guided visualization. They essentially remind you to embody the energy of your future self, which in turn help you change your thoughts, beliefs, and actions to align with that future you. It's backed by science and self-image psychology, and it really works. I like listening to them in the morning to start my day with positive and inspired energy. I just put it on while I'm doing skincare or stretching, and it just gives me this energy boost and helps me align to my higher self. These audios are a shortcut to help you get to where you want to be, perfect for aligning to your New Year goals. So if you want to try it, you can try it risk-free for 14 days, and for a limited time, you get a massive discount on a yearly membership at activations.com/TLL. This offer is only applicable to Lavendaire Lifestyle listeners only, and this discount is only available through the website, not the App Store. So make sure you go to the website. Again, the link is activations.com/TLL. Quick reminder before we dive in, if you're ready to make 2025 your best year yet, the Artist of Life workbook is here to guide you. Packed with prompts for self-discovery, goal setting, and accountability, this workbook is your step-by-step tool to create a life you love and make real, lasting change. Don't wait. Start your transformation today. Get your Artist of Life workbook at shop.lavendaire.com. All right, let's get into the interview. Hello, Mimi. Welcome to the Lavendaire Lifestyle podcast. How are you feeling today?
Oh my goodness, I'm feeling so energized and excited to speak with you. It's a new year, 2025. So excited for another opportunity to just, have an amazing life this year. So I'm feeling really good.
I love that. I love that you really embody this energy that I hear in your activations as well. Like, you're so bright. You're so on top of this future self that you're becoming. I feel it.
I feel like I have become my future self officially. I really feel that way. And it's just such a beautiful, delicious feeling. So I really appreciate you noticing that.
Oh yeah, totally. So happy for you.
Thank you.
Okay, so why don't you start by telling us your story? So how did you develop this passion for personal growth and manifesting?
About a decade ago, I was in quite a different place in my life. I had to have a total 180 to get to where I am today. Every single area in my life was not going well. So mentally, I was incredibly depressed. Back in my late teenage years, early 20s, I was doing a lot of drugs, going out and partying a lot. I had a bad eating disorder. I really dealt with very low self-confidence. I hated myself. And I really think back to that time in my life, and I don't recognize that person because I felt like a shell of a human. It was for most of my teenage years. And of course, everyone goes through hard things a lot of the time in their teenage years. But for some reason, I felt like I really went through it and dealt with some very dark things. And I found personal development at a time where I needed it most. And it changed my life. And back then, personal development wasn't cool like it is now. I had to go to the library and find random books with like old white guys on the cover with their thumbs up. Like it was just
Totally.
kind of cringe. But for some reason, I just had this magnetic pull to go read a book. And I was at a time in my life where nothing was going right. I was very broke and I wanted to create a business for myself. I was very unhappy and I wanted to gain confidence and I didn't like how I looked. And I just had this very terrible world that I was living in internally every day. So fast forward, I started, dipping my toe in, getting into personal development and reading all the books I could, listening to all the seminars I could online. I started really changing my life with these basic principles of personal development, principles like take 100% responsibility for your life. Principles like you are the average of the 5 people that you surround yourself with most. Principles like rejection is redirection and you need to visualize your future and you can create this life of your dreams. So I really I think needed to hear those things at that time. And it just put me down this really positive path. And the more that I did this quote work, the better I felt. But the growth was happening still pretty slowly. And I was suddenly my future self. It was years and years of learning what works and what doesn't. And also just creating this curiosity about this type of work, allowed me to really learn about why it worked and why visualization rewired your mind and how, retraining your subconscious with subliminal messaging actually worked and what transformation actually looked like because it's messy, and a lot of people think it's really hard and really complicated and they see this vision of their future as so far away. And that was me at the time. So I was trying to do it all and I was doing what all these professionals were telling me to do. And the one thing that I couldn't really stick to though was traditional meditation. I tried to do it and I really it was one of those things on my list every day that I always had unticked and I would just avoid it for some reason. And I just felt like it was designed to calm me down, but all I wanted was to feel energized and reinvigorated towards my goals. I wanted to have something that gave me this energy, this passion, this intensity. I wanted something to make me feel like I'm moving towards this big life. And I felt like meditation was good and it was great to clear my mind, but I didn't want that. I wanted to radically transform. So around that time, I remember I had moved to London. I'm from Canada and I moved to London. I was working 4 jobs to try to make ends meet while I was my original business, my online magazine. I was trying to get that up and going. So I was working at a juice bar, nannying, interning at this styling agency, dog walking. I was doing all the things to make money. And I remember at that time, I was trying to meditate and I thought, you know what? Why don't I just try something else? Why don't I take out my phone and go to the voice memos app? And why don't I just record something that I'm looking for that I can't find with meditation? And that was a visualization of my future life, these affirmations weaved in. And then I added this music that made me feel the way that my future self felt. I've always been very interested in the power of music. And anyway, so I created the original activation back then.
How long ago was this, by the way?
Yeah, this was about 8 years ago.
Okay.
I didn't really think much of it. It was an intuition. So I created these audios. I didn't even know what to call them. And I would just listen to them, not seated with my eyes closed. I would listen to them while doing everyday activities, while I was making breakfast in the morning, going on public transport to go to one of my jobs, going to the gym. It just was one of those things I'd listen to kind of like a podcast or music. And I had to create dozens of them because I'd get bored of them really quickly. And then I, wanted to find new music for it. And I just always wanted different ones. So I just created this library for myself. And fast forward a few years, my life changed very quickly. So from when I started listening to these activations, it was like a bell curve of growth. At first, the growth happened very slowly. And then I kind of just stopped doing a lot of other things. I stopped doing the vision boards. I stopped, necessarily doing all the morning routines every single morning diligently. I kind of just started listening to these activations as my most consistent part of my routine. And it was this bell curve of growth within a few years, I started making more money than I could ever imagine. I started healing myself of all these things that I had been going through. And I started to feel more confident. I've changed how I look. Like things have really changed in every way, shape, or form. I healed my eating binge and purge habit. And I finally have stepped into a body I love and I eat whatever I want. And I never think about food. Like all these things I used to think, wow, I hate people like that. I wish I had that. I've created this dream life for myself where every single thing is working. And it really has come down to these activations, and I had to do a ton of research on why this specific type of audio made such a big impact on my life and now tens of thousands of other people's lives with my app. And we can talk about that later in the episode, but that's my story. My life transformed with this, and now I've dedicated the rest of my life to telling people about how it actually doesn't need to be that complicated to transform your life. It doesn't need to be that hard to transform your life. All you need to do is create a new self-image of your future self and then become them in everyday moments. Activations are just a tool you can use to help you become that version of you. But you know what? You can do it yourself too with your mind. You just need to be the energy of your future self with your eyes open. When you're walking the dog, when you're at the grocery store, you need to slowly but surely embody this energy of your future self. So yeah, that's my story. And I'm now living in the Bahamas with a fiance and a dog, and I have a business and I earn more money than I honestly could have ever imagined. And I have completely transformed my life in every way.
Time for a short break. The show is brought to you by BetterHelp. Every January brings a fresh start, a blank page waiting to be filled. What if this year you gave yourself permission to grow, heal, and explore parts of your story that you've never dared to before? Therapy can be your guide on that journey. BetterHelp is an online platform that connects you with over 30,000 credentialed therapists, offering flexible and affordable support wherever you are. Whether you're looking to build healthier habits, gain new coping skills, or simply feel more empowered in your life, BetterHelp is here for you. With the ability to schedule therapy sessions at your convenience, BetterHelp makes it easy to prioritize your mental and emotional well-being. Plus, if you ever feel like a different therapist might be a better fit, you can easily switch at no extra cost. Write your story with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/TLL to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/TLL. Yeah, amazing story. Thank you so much for sharing that. I can totally relate as well because like a decade ago, I was also going through like the most difficult time in my life. And then also finding those books by those like white men, like just like personal development was not mainstream. And it was like really weird to be young and reading those books, or at least it felt like it at that time. It was not catered to people our age. So I totally relate to your story, but I love that you found that medium that worked for you. And I also understand like so much of it is like energy design, like designing your mindset, like manifesting. And so I'm so happy to see how it unfolded for you and how your life transformed just by getting your energy right. So tell us a little bit more about the transformation, because I know when you put it that way, the listeners are like, oh, it sounds so easy. But I'm sure it still wasn't like, easy, quick transformation. Like at what point did you start your blog or your business, and at what moment did it click that this was the idea for like your big business? Like walk us through that side.
Yeah, my online magazine blog back when I was like 19, 20 was definitely never earned a penny.
Was that also personal development?
Yeah, actually, when I first started, it was a bit of fashion, a bit of personal development, a bit of health. It was kind of all my interests, and then it really just evolved. But yeah, I have to say, I'm glad you brought this up because, of course, when I give the elevator pitch of my transformation, it's like, oh, okay, easy for you to say, But the reality is that yes, it was so much work. It was so much transformation, so much failing, so many long nights of me just working so hard towards my dreams and being like, why hasn't it happened yet? But what I've noticed looking back, because with hindsight, you gain wisdom, it's so messy in the middle and then it gets so clear after you've come out of it. when I really boil it down to what it was that helped me get to where I wanted to be, it was all about my feelings and energy and self-image. Those are the two things that I relentlessly worked on for so many years. And the more I did it, it's like the universe would give me these little gifts, these little rewards showing me you're on the right path, keep going. I'd get so close with a business. I had many different businesses before I started activations, and they failed. Like, I have had epic failures that I can talk about. I've been on the brink of success so many times. And I knew every time that thing failed, I was like, all right, I'm getting closer. I know that I'm getting closer, because you're never going to win on your first go. Like, it's very rare to have
Yeah.
your first big thing and never fail. Like, you have to go through that. So I believed in myself. Well, I developed a belief in myself, I'll say, because back in the day, I was a total victim. Before I found personal development, I was like, woe is me. Oh, I came from a poor family. Nope, I can't do this. Nope. So I really just created this belief in myself that was so strong. And I knew that it was part of my self-image. I was already the personality of a millionaire making, $500,000 a month before I ever got there. Like, I became that version of me before it ever materialized. So that was the interesting thing. Like, I actually am such an example of this work because I believed that it could happen. I had such faith that this was the direction my life was going. And not because I'm special, because I selected that reality for myself, because I was aligning my energy with this reality every single day. And it wasn't perfect. In my whole journey of transformation, I've never had one perfect day where I woke up at 5 a.m., did a morning routine, did an activation, never procrastinated, ate organic all day, had no screen time. I've never had one perfect day, like, ever. So this is the other thing that I wish I could go tell my younger self. First of all, no one has ever had a perfect day in their life. And second of all, you can get there without ever having perfection. All that matters is a quick bounce back rate. The rate at which you bounce back after you've fallen off track. If you've done something that's not aligned with your future self-image, the person that you want to be, if you just let it go quickly and get back on the bandwagon, the faster you do that, the quicker your bounce back rate, the more likely you're going to be successful. So I had to realize that young. And over the years, my bounce back rate has shortened and shortened to now it's honestly mostly a few seconds. I'll get a bad thought, or I'll look in the mirror and I'll maybe have some self-consciousness, or I'll, eat something really unhealthy when my self-image is of someone that likes health, or I'll do something and I'm like, okay, no big deal. I don't worry about it. I don't wait till Monday. I don't over exaggerate what happened. I'm like, okay, let's get back to it. I know who I am. I know who I want, how I want to feel. So that's, I think, the biggest trick. But absolutely, Aileen, it was not an easy journey, but the tools don't need to be complicated. I really think that when you know what to do, it can become effortless once you become the self-image of your future self. That's when it becomes effortless. But the whole work is getting yourself there. And you have to fall off track and get back on many, many times.
Yeah, I think at that point, it's just a matter of consistency, is like keep reminding yourself of who you are, who you want to be, and then just living it.
Yeah.
And it just sounds like over the years, you've just become that self so hard that it's like you said, it's like easier to just bounce back if anything goes off track.
Yeah, it's a habit. I've rewired my mind so well with these activations that
Yeah.
I've listened to now for so long. Every day I listen to one, basically. Of course I'm not perfect, so I don't listen every single freaking day of my life, but I do listen most days. And I listen not because it's on my to-do list. I've noticed when I used to meditate, it was always on that to-do list. I never ticked it off. But just like how you don't put having your morning coffee on your to-do list because you really want to do it, I feel like that's what's happened with activations, because it's like one of those things that just feels like having a coffee. It feels like just this energetic, frequency adjustment. And that is how in everyday moments I became my future self. I had to remind myself to act as if I was already my future self in these everyday moments when I was doing this mundane, because just like the Pavlov dog theory, where Pavlov rings a bell and the dog salivates, that's classical conditioning. Just like that, activations are classical conditioning for you to transform into your future self. So if you listen to an activation every morning when you're doing your makeup and you're listening to a getting ready activation, soon enough, you don't even need to listen to that to feel confident and abundant and inspired and in love with life. Same thing goes with if every morning you're walking the dog for 10 minutes. If you just listen to an activation, soon enough, you won't even need that activation when you're walking the dog to feel in love with life and happy and abundant and confident. So that's how it works. And I've realized that that's actually the best hack of them all, because you are learning to have the energy of your future self with your eyes open in everyday moments while you're moving, while you're distracted, while life is happening around you. And then when you create that skill, it's very quick how transformation can snowball. It's very fast.
Yeah. I want to come back to, you said that you had a lot of different businesses and a lot of different failures. And what I love is also your mindset of, oh, just a failure means I'm one step closer to success. Because I know when you're working on something that you believe in, you clearly want it to go well, right? So how do you balance that? Like, I believe that this is going to go well for me. And then when it fails, like, how do you handle that? And then how do you, like, sometimes you want to believe in it and keep working towards it. And then other times you're like, okay, this is a failure and it's a stepping stone to something else. Like, how do you know?
You know what? That's the beauty of the universe. We don't actually know what is going to happen. We can only manifest how it's going to make us feel. So a lot of people think that manifestation is like, okay, you're going to think of this very specific person or this very, very, very specific scenario. I don't think manifestation works like that. From my experience, it's you really need to embody this feeling, this energy, this emotion very consistently. And then that is what is going to be attracted into your life. So when you're asking about how I remained faithful every time I would have these epic failures, I did not question manifesting, and I did not question how my energy was creating my life. I just had to develop, and it wasn't easy, but I had to develop this core belief that everything is happening exactly as it should, and if not this, better. And I can't even tell you looking back, because again, with hindsight, you gain wisdom. I had a few big epic failures that I can think of, like when I was 21 years old. I sold a TV show that I created, and I sold it to E! Network in the US. I was going to be the co-creator of the show and the executive producer of the show. At 21 years old, I was about to make a lot of money, and I'd spent a long time working on this, and I had completely stretched out of my old self-image. I was in meetings with executives. I literally had the contract. I signed the contract. I had an agent at WME, negotiating with me. It was all these crazy things happening that I couldn't even talk about publicly.
What was the show about?
Yeah, good question. So I actually, I have a few family members. So my cousins on my dad's side, some of them have Instagram followers. One of them is like a famous athlete. And then me and my sister, we're all 5 girls, big personalities, very different personalities. And I was friends with the producer at the time. And I was like, I want to make a TV show about my family, and I want to pitch it like the next Kardashians. I was like editing these like promo reels on my computer. Like I literally was like obsessed with this idea. I was like, okay, this is going to be so cool. Like I really saw it. We had the contracts. It took 2 years we actually filmed a pilot for it. Like it was like a whole thing. I had contracts with E! We had negotiated a deal. They were going to make us the next big thing. And then just like this, one of my cousins, like the most famous one, she got in a fight with the family. Like my family was too dramatic to have a reality show, let's just say. So there was something that happened, and we really needed her for it. That was a big part of it because she was the most known. And last minute, she pulled out. And I can't even tell you like the feeling of failure after that, because we had worked so hard towards this. It wouldn't work without her. And, it was just this, we had it right there. We could taste it. And so, yeah, when that failed, and I had tried manifesting so hard on getting this deal, and I got the deal, and I have the contract still on my desktop to remind me. And I can't even tell you in hindsight how grateful I am that that never happened. I was too young. It wouldn't have been good for us. I don't want fame like that. I would not have created my app that has literally helped so many people. I wouldn't have done what I'm doing now. It's not the path for me. I don't want that kind of life. Wealth and fame and all that was literally right there for us to touch. And then it got pulled out, and then the contract went null because one of the cast members couldn't, maintain it, and it fell through the cracks. So that was one epic failure. I had a few others. that were just huge as well over the years. But I kept going because I knew it was part of my personality. It was part of my self-image. It was part of how I knew my life was going to turn out, that I would have abundance. For me, it was never about fame. I actually would prefer, if you asked me, would you rather be famous and rich or just rich and anonymous? I would absolutely pick rich and anonymous. I never really cared, like, well, now especially I don't care for fame, but for me, it was always about money. Because growing up, my immediate family, like my parents, struggling artists, had to remortgage the house very often to make ends meet. There were bankruptcies in my family. Like, it was tough growing up. So I've always had, from when I was young, a feeling of lack financially. So for me, personal development was more about money at the beginning. And then it just naturally, I guess cascaded into, oh, wait, I love myself now. Oh, wait, my, disordered eating has gone. Oh, wait, I found the love of my life. So it was all about money. And I'm very open about money because I think that it's a beautiful thing to have money. And I see abundance in such a great way, abundance in every area of my life. And I wish when I was younger, I saw a woman that looked like me, that, was similar to me, talk about how she can make a certain amount and use manifestation and personal development to have incredible financial rewards. So, yeah, that's one of my crazy stories.
I love that. Thanks for sharing. Before we go on, a quick word from our sponsor, Quip. It's the new year and the perfect time to upgrade some of our daily habits. That's why I'm excited to share about the new Quip 360 rechargeable electric toothbrush that just leveled up my routine. How good is that feeling of fresh, clean teeth? With a Quip 360, that feeling is yours every day. It's scientifically proven to remove up to 11 times more plaque than a manual toothbrush and provides up to 2 times more whitening on day 1. Plus, it's ultra quiet, backed by a lifetime warranty, and offers easy refills. With a built-in 2-minute timer and 3 intensity settings, Quip makes brushing effortless. And with 30 days of battery life on just 1 charge, it's perfect for travel. Just for listeners of the Lavendaire Lifestyle, get 20% off site-wide and a free travel case and countertop stand at getquip.com/TLL. Free your mouth today and save 20% site-wide, plus a free travel case and countertop stand at getquip.com/TLL. That's getquip.com/TLL. When you mentioned abundance, I actually really love your abundance activations, like the ones about income, or even you have so many. There's like wealth during cooking. Like, I love that I can listen to your affirmations, like getting ready in the morning, just to like start manifesting and getting my energy right. But let's talk about activations. Tell us about the science and the power of activations.
Activations are a new type of audio. It's not meditation because it doesn't calm you, and it's not meant to be listened to with your eyes closed. It's meant to shift your energy in such a strong way where you actually end up energetically becoming your future self in these everyday moments. That is what an activation does. It's a mix between motivational guidance, affirmations, and then the cinematic music is one of the most beautiful parts of the activations. We also have our audio engineers layer in these different frequencies that can tune you in energetically even deeper. So it's really this unique type of audio that I created, and you can only find them on activations. And they truly shift you into a new reality. This is how I like to describe it. I guess I know your audience is a little bit more spiritual. I was on a podcast earlier today, actually, and the audience is a lot less spiritual. So I probably didn't get into this that much.
Yeah, I feel like my listeners get it.
Yeah.
They know.
I'm going to give you my slightly more spiritual explanation, and then I'm going to give you more of the scientific explanation. But spiritually, I believe, and quantum physics can prove this as well, that there are unlimited, I would call them lifelines, parallel realities. There are unlimited lifelines that you can select at any given moment. Anything is possible. So there is a parallel reality with anything you want in it. There is a parallel reality where we're in person together doing a podcast, where it's like slightly different and maybe we're speaking the exact same way. But there's also a parallel reality where, if someone listening is earning $100,000 a month and they're the happiest they've ever been. There's a parallel reality of every type of situation you can be in. And I believe that To reach the reality, the lifeline, I call them, that you desire, all you need to do is align your energy, your frequency with the energy or frequency of that specific lifeline. So what I've noticed is that activations are a very quick way for you to embody that energy of your future self, aka the lifeline that you desire, and quickly enter it. So that is more of like the quantum metaphysical explanation of what it actually does and how it triggers transformation. But let's go more to earth here,
The scientific.
and we can talk about the science. So when it comes to listening in everyday moments, I shared with you the classical conditioning of Pavlov's dog. When it comes to rewiring your brain with this subliminal messaging, so you can listen to an activation whether you're actually listening to the words consciously or not, playing it in the background, it's like a subliminal. It is going to change your thoughts, your emotions, your beliefs, your self-image without you even realizing it. Obviously, the more conscious you are, the better, but you can also just play it in the background. So the RAS in your brain it's the reticular activating system. It's essentially this filtration system in your brain that decides what you consciously notice and what you do not. We all need this because if we noticed absolutely everything at all times, our brains would like explode. You'd notice like the sound of the air conditioning, the light coming through the window, this happening, that happening, like it would just be too much stimulation. So our brains have this really interesting mechanism called the RAS, and it determines what you consciously notice based off of your thoughts, beliefs, and self-image. So when you rewire your mind when you listen to activations and you feel these new feelings of abundance, of confidence, of I'm a lucky person. I'm going to create this big life for myself. My soulmate is right around the corner. He's coming my way. Like if you have these positive beliefs, your RAS is actually going to be reprogrammed for you to notice opportunities to get you those things. It is a confirmation bias if you believe that you are a victim and unfortunately, that you are an unlucky person, you're going to simply notice those things in your life that reaffirm that. You're going to miss that parking spot. You're going to have your coffee spill all over you. Like bad things are going to happen because that is a core belief you have and your RAS is triggered that way. So that is more of the science behind it. And I think you can explain it in many different ways. I've actually said this quote a few times before. I tried to find where it originated from, but I couldn't find it. This quote is also in my book coming out in April, but it says something along the lines of spiritualists will call it the law of attraction, Christians will call it prayer, scientists will call it quantum physics, and atheists will call it the placebo effect.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what you label it, but it exists.
It exists. Like everyone says the same thing in a different way. And all I know is that it works. And I have seen my life, along with so many other people's lives, transform with this work. And I have selected a lifeline that I'm living right now. And I can tell you with full honesty that like I wouldn't have gotten here if I didn't do this work, if I didn't adjust my energy and live this way every single day. And it's weird because, Aileen, like it happened really quickly. I look back on my life and the success, especially that I've seen, and just how happy I am in everyday life with my partner, with my family, with my friends, and, and just how happy I am with myself. Like, I can't even tell you, it is the most magical thing because when you look back, you realize that you were in control all along. Like, the specifics obviously don't always come down to us, but it's the feeling. If you feel truly deeply in your heart that this is where you're heading, it's going to happen. I selected this lifeline long ago and I kept showing up and I kept aligning my energy with it. And I didn't do it perfectly. My energy went from old self to future self many times a day. And then slowly but surely it became more future self and less old self. And I've materialized it. And it shouldn't have happened. Like my business, I don't do a lot of marketing for it. Like it's been around for 3 years. It has blown up from word of mouth, people telling people about it, people having their own transformation, sharing it. Like we are doing so well. And it's just this beautiful snowball effect of people helping, us helping people change their lives, people talking about it. Like I shouldn't be where I am today with the amount of effort that I've put in. Like I shouldn't be. The only explanation is this energetic work that I do and these activations.
Yeah, I love that. And just for our listeners, if you want to try activations, we have a code. Actually, we have a link. It's activations.com/TLL where you can get a free trial and also a limited time discount on yearly membership. So check it out because it can be so life-changing. I love what you're sharing about your story, Mimi. Another thing that I'm wondering about is I know a lot of it is like getting into the feeling of what you like, who you want to be, but how much like visualization and getting specific do you do?
Okay.
Like, do you do both the feeling and the visual? Because sometimes it doesn't unfold the way you want it to.
I'm getting so excited right
So
now.
what do you focus on? Yeah.
I love this question. The feeling is my visualization. I
Okay.
rarely will like close my eyes and have like an actual situation happen in my brain. Like
Yeah, kind of like, oh, my business is effortlessly getting new customers. Do you think about that, or like how do you manifest?
I am tuned into the frequency of wealth and abundance and opportunity. I am
Mm-hmm.
very much so a physical feeling person. Like I feel things deeply and I am hypersensitive. And I do believe that hypersensitive people are even better at quote manifesting because I think manifesting is all about feeling. And I think a lot of people listening to this podcast probably identify with being quite sensitive because a lot of sensitive people are attracted to this work. And it's a good thing because we're really good at doing it. Because when you feel like putting a feeling out into the universe is essentially ordering something to come your way. It's like you become a magnet. Biofields are measured scientifically. I just wrote this in my book. You can actually measure biofields, your energy fields, and it's a real thing. And guess what affects that? Your energy, your emotion, your feelings. So for me, when I say visualize, yes, words can help you visualize. And if you are more a visual person, great, do that. But the most important thing is to feel it in your body. And when you feel it inside of you and around you, like in your body and around you in your biofield, you're going to notice that everything, like your whole being, is now in this new lifeline, this new frequency. And when that happens, everything else starts to fall into place slowly but surely. So when I say visualize with your body, feel it, act as if. And when you're listening to an activation and you're in line at the grocery store, and even if you're not listening to an activation, I'm just saying activations help you tune into that. But if let's say you have nothing in your ear and you're in line at the grocery store, why don't you just do this for fun? Even right now, listening to this podcast, like hold yourself like your future self. Feel the energy of what it feels like to be unlimited, to have abundance, to have this life that you feel so deeply in love with. That is how you visualize. You don't need to have this very specific, house that you want. You don't need to wait until you know exactly what the vision board, like you don't need to do any of that. Just feel the feelings of what you want to experience and embody the energy and the personality and the self-image of your future self. And that is going to get you there.
Amazing. I'm curious in the beginning of your journey, as you are acting as if you're, your ideal self, how do the people around you react? Right? Were people like, this girl's delusional? Like, how do you make sense of it in reality? Because some people have trouble bridging that gap of, I want to feel it and fake it till I make it. But sometimes life kind of pulls you back to reality.
It's like, do you want to play it safe and make the people around you comfortable, or do you want to create the life of your dreams is the question. I can't even tell you how many people made fun of me, didn't believe me, tried putting me down when I first started this journey. Even moving to London when I was 19 years old and telling everyone, okay, I'm leaving the country. I grew up in Canada. Like I'm leaving the country and I'm going to go try to figure this out with no money. And I need to like go somewhere new and take a big move and create my first online venture. That was my dream. And I had people back then really just judge me for it. I remember this like random uncle at a family dinner, at like my goodbye dinner, being like, okay, we'll see you in a few months. You're not going to make it. And I just remember really snide comments. People really didn't believe in me. And as much as my parents, they believe in me for sure, but you could always tell deep down, it's like, okay, but we're here if you want to come back. And then there was also a friend actually that I overheard, a good friend of mine, when I began kind of at that time, I stopped drinking and going out as much. She was like my friend that I'd party with, and she didn't know I was in the other room. And I overheard her talking to another one of my friends, making fun of me, mimicking me, saying, oh, I'm going to go create a blog, an online magazine. I'm moving to London, just like making fun of me. And they're like, wow, she's so hilarious. She's so pathetic, like thinking that she can go do that. Like she's never going to find success. And I just remember feeling that and listening to that conversation in real time. And I cried, but then I also got this burst of inspiration. I remember I went on the longest run. I don't run. Like I went on a really long run and I listened to music and I just was like, this is it. This is part of my story. I now need to prove them wrong.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, listen, my motivation didn't come from proving them wrong. I just had this deep belief in myself that I had developed by doing this work. And I knew it was going to be lonely at first. And it was. It was very lonely at times. I spent a lot of time alone. It was the best thing I ever did because I learned so much about myself. I got very close with who I am. I let go of distraction in those times. And I journaled a lot. I created and designed the life I wanted. I thought, what if anything was possible? What would I want? How much abundance would I have? What kind of loving relationships would I have? How would I look? How would I feel? I want it all. Like I really wanted to have this one beautiful life that I live, be one where I experience all the good. And it worked.
I love that story and I can totally relate. I think when you're on this journey, it is lonely, and whenever you have a dream, there's a point where you see it, right? It's so clear to you, but the people around you don't see it. It can be hard to navigate that and just learn to trust and believe in yourself that whole journey, but you have to, because you have no other choice, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And gosh, I really do feel so proud of that, younger me for really just, because it's hard. It's hard to believe in yourself before it ever comes to fruition.
Yeah.
It's not easy. And you can doubt yourself and you have to really really believe in it. And I'm just so proud that without seeing any signs, I just went all in and I was like, this is what I'm selecting. And it's one of those things that you're just going to feel so grateful for. Like once you hit it, for anyone listening, like you just have to stay consistent in believing yourself. Like whatever it is that makes you believe in yourself, whatever it is that gives you that inspiration, just consume that a lot, whether it's a podcast, whether it's a book, whether it's just a Post-it note on your water bottle or on your computer reminding you of your potential and just knowing deep down that literally anything is possible. There are people that started way worse off than you that have achieved insane success. It's just creating that new belief in your mind and not allowing yourself to fall into that victim mentality of, oh, I can't because of this, and taking your power outside of yourself. The most empowering thing you can do is be the creator of your life, not the victim of your life.
Let's pause for a moment to talk about today's sponsor, Acorns. Have you set any money or investing goals for the new year yet? Here's a reminder if you haven't already. I've always loved the idea that small, consistent steps can lead to big changes, and that's exactly what's so great about Acorns. Acorns makes it easy to start automatically saving and investing so your money has a chance to grow for you, your kids, and your retirement. You don't need to be an expert. Acorns will recommend a diversified portfolio that fits you and your money goals. You don't need to be rich. Acorns lets you invest with the spare money you've got right now. You can start with $5 or even just your spare change. I remember feeling intimidated by investing for years. It was overwhelming to learn and figure out what I should be doing. Thankfully, Acorns makes it easy to invest automatically without the stress. Head to acorns.com/TLL or download the Acorns app to start saving and investing for your future today. Paid non-client endorsement. Compensation provides incentive to positively promote Acorns. Tier 1 compensation provided. Investing involves risk. Acorns Advisors, LLC, an SEC registered investment advisor. View important disclosures at acorns.com/TLL. While we're on this topic, are there any other manifesting tips that you have for people who are listening? Because I think, Yeah, I know we've talked about a lot, but let's go deeper. What else can you give us?
Okay, well, it's funny because I know we're using the word manifestation right now, and I know that this audience aligns with it, but I oftentimes like don't even use that word because a lot of people can think, oh, it's too new agey. Oh, you're just thinking that you're going to think something and it's going to magically appear. Like this stuff is real. Like this is so real that science proves it. Quantum physics, like energy, we don't know what the real rules of the universe are. It's not simple for our human minds. So it's so interesting to do these experiments with yourself because then you just really see this new way of how the world works. Like my whole perception of how the world works has completely changed. It's gone belly up. Like I now deeply believe that my energy creates my life, and bad things can happen to me for sure, but my response to them is 50% of the outcome of what happens to me. So I'm still in control of how it affects me. So going to more manifestation tips, gosh, so really just to simplify it down, if you have all this information from everywhere you're looking and you're like, I just want to transform my life, what do I do? There's this very simple 2-step process that I talk about. And the first step is clarity. And the second step is becoming. I spoke about this earlier. So just to get very, very nitty gritty on it. Before creating your dream life in 2025, you first need to get crystal clear on what this looks like. Like you can't just generally think, oh, okay, I kind of want to make more money or I kind of want this. You need to get very clear about the person that has those things very specifically. So the first step is clarity. You need to understand deeply who your future self is, what your future self has, the life that they live, how they feel about themselves every day, how they dress, how they hold themselves. Very clear on your future self, okay? How it feels to be them. You need to get clear on your future self frequency, which is the baseline frequency energy that your future self experiences and lives in every single day. And that, bringing it back to lifelines, that will help you select the lifeline in real time that you desire. So the first step is clarity, and how to get that. Journaling has been a massive part of my journey. Just putting pen to paper, writing. You don't need anything. You can just free write and put all distractions away. So many of us are so addicted to our phones and technology. Put your phone on airplane mode or turn it off completely. Lock yourself in a room and just figure it out. Like write. Get really intimate with yourself and just write and get clear. And if you need a bit more guidance, you can use journal prompts. We actually have a whole writing activation category on the Activations app, and that's all guided journaling prompts that you can listen to with music to get you into that state. And we have specifically ones on creating your future self. So if you need clarity, that's support there. And then the phase 2 of this 2 steps to transformation is becoming. You must embody this future self version of you before any of it manifests, before it happens. This is the sacred phase 2 of this 2-step process, okay? You need to become in everyday moments, become with your eyes open, with your eyes closed, become when you are on the bus going to work, become when you're brushing your teeth in the morning, feel it. And when you become it, you feel it. When you become it, your self-image changes, your personality changes. You become who you want to be. And the beautiful thing about the becoming phase is that you get to taste your future in real time, in the present moment before it happens. So you're enjoying the process. It's not like you're killing yourself and waiting to be happy to get that dream job or waiting to feel abundant, to have that more money. You're literally living in it now. So you're enjoying yourself now and you're enjoying yourself then. And it's crazy because while enjoying yourself now, you're manifesting it closer and closer to you in your life. So how good is that? I want to select that reality for myself. And sure, you can do it manually. You can do it like everyone else and do it the hard way and, feel treacherously like waking up in the morning early and hating and using discipline and hating waking up and doing a morning routine and hating, the whole process of transformation and hating yourself throughout you can do that. It's not the way I want to do it. And I've done both. And guess which one works faster? My way.
Yeah, totally. I'm curious, what is your daily or weekly routine? Like, what are the habits or activities that you're constantly doing to make sure that your energy is right? So I guess I'm assuming activations is a big part of it, but you mentioned journaling. Like, give us the package. What is the starter kit for your routine?
I'm not strict at all. I used to be so much more strict. I have seen such big growth in my life since I've stopped making all these intense rules. All I focus on is one thing. It's becoming. Because when I act and I become my future self, like I told you earlier in the episode, I feel like my future self. And I naturally just trust that she's going to make the decisions that are right for me. So, for example, I just went for lunch with a friend, and my future self naturally loves vitality and health, and she wants to live a long, healthy life. So I'm choosing the meal that aligns with those goals. Sure, there was maybe a burger or mac and cheese on the menu, and I'm not looking at those things like, oh, I wish I could have that. No, I just naturally, intuitively want those things that are good for me. I'm with a friend and we're talking about business opportunities, perhaps. Like I have this confidence to say, hey, like, what if we do this thing together? Or, I have this confidence of being able to say the things that my future self would say because I am my future self. So to answer your question, I think back years ago, I would have been like, oh, I do this morning routine and I have this 10-step process. And I did a lot of those things, and they work for sure, but it felt a bit too forceful. And I've realized that, again, simplifying the whole process of transformation, the best thing that you can do is just embody your future self and then just act like her.
Yeah.
So you'll make these decisions and you really have this intuition, and guess what? If I wanted to have the mac and cheese today because I was in my late luteal phase and I was just feeling it, I would do it. And I would be like, okay, amazing. But I know that there's this consistency when it comes with being your future self, and you just act a certain way. You feel passionate about the work you do. You know that you're moving in the right direction. Like this morning, I got an email with some bad news, like not terrible news, but just for work, like there was something annoying that happened. And I thought to myself, no, I read this first thing in the morning. I could allow these negative emotions to kind of fill me for the next few hours, or I could just trust the universe and trust that that wasn't meant to happen. And I can just feel okay about that. And I know that my life is moving in this beautiful direction, so I can have faith in that. So I guess, to give people more tangible tips, because I know that we definitely want that as well. But I wanted to be honest and say that for me, it used to be a lot more about the routines and now it's not anymore. And I've noticed more growth since just focusing on feeling. I was doing another podcast this morning, and in the car there, I just listened to 3 activations. And there's one that's been really changing my energy lately.
What's it called?
Embody magnetic manifestation energy. And it's one of our anytime activations. So I just listened to it 3 times. So those are the 3 activations I did. I am weird. I get really obsessed with one and then I move on to the next. So I was listening to that one 3 times in a row during my long car ride. And I felt like high after the first one. And I was like, oh, I want that again. It's very addictive in a very positive way. So I was just embodying this energy. And that was like my energetic routine of the morning. I, was listening to great music in the morning while I was getting ready. I wasn't even listening to an activation. But then in the car, I was like, okay, I want to really step in now. And I listened to this one 3 times. And the music was, oh my God, I actually went for lunch yesterday with the composer that created a lot of the new music that we're using. And he's this composer for movies.
Oh,
and
nice.
This music, it's like big energy, orchestral and cinematic, and it really makes you feel a certain beautiful, transformative way. And I felt just so tuned in with my future self. I just became her, and I've been riding that wave since this morning. And that was about 5 hours ago. So,
no, I love that. I mean, I think maybe in the beginning of the journey, like in someone's personal growth journey, you need more like habits and routines. But I feel like for you, it's become like muscle memory. Like you already know who your future self is. So it's just about becoming her. But I think someone earlier in the journey, you got to maybe figure out who's your future self.
I will say that when you amend and change your self-image, think about it like the core of an onion. If your self-image is the middle of an onion, every other layer on top is influenced by the self-image. But if you change one of the outside layers, it's really hard to actually, for example, let's say one of the outside layers is habits, okay, or routines. If you just try to manually change your routine without ever addressing the self-image first, it's going to be quite hard for you to stay consistent. So I actually believe that all you need to do is first change the self-image, and then all those other things naturally start to change. So for example, if you don't identify as someone that journals every morning, it's going to be really hard for you to pick up your journal and journal in the morning. I personally love journaling. I have my journal. Where is it? It's right there next to my bed in this hotel room I'm in. And I've journaled. I've been in LA here for almost a week. I've journaled twice because it came from inspired. I knew the feeling I had that I wanted to do, and I did it. But, it's all about changing your self-image first. And I do identify as a journaler. I do identify as someone who does Pilates 4 or 5 times a week. Like, there are things that I do that are habits and routines, but I don't see them as, okay, I need to check this off my list. It's just simply what I do because of the person I am.
It's like knowing the identity first, and everything flows from there.
And to get clarity on that, you want to journal, you want to get clear. I think putting pen to paper is very important. I guess other routines that are aligned with my self-image, to give you a bit more tangible information here, journaling, obviously, and limiting screen time is a really big one for me. I have this whole theory where you're either doing things that numb you or make you feel alive. And the things that numb you are like overeating, drinking, drugs, mindless scrolling on social media, anything that helps you disassociate or numb out. And when you numb out, time goes by very quickly. On the contrary, when you're feeling alive, AKA when you're meditating or activating or working out or having a beautiful, deep conversation with someone and feeling very present, and you're just very here now, alive, listening to a beautiful song, like really activations were created to give you that feeling of aliveness. This is why I'm so obsessed with them, because I love feeling alive. And when you're feeling alive, time goes by so slowly, and you're really embracing life and just embracing this beautiful one chance that we have on this planet. I've realized I actually haven't been on social media in 6 months. I went on quickly the other day just to post an update, but I'm back off. Like, I'm kind of in this phase of my life where I don't like mindless scrolling. I don't like being online as much. I want to be present. I want to be mindful. I want to be with my, fiance and my dog, and have great long phone conversations with my dad. Like, I really just love being alive. And you can't really have both at the same time.
Yeah.
So I think the lack of social media, especially in the morning, especially before bed, everyone has heard this. And even if you don't want to delete social media off your phone forever, like, why don't you just delete it from Friday to Monday? Why don't you just have your weekends for you to live? And that's something I feel very passionate about. I love having a coffee in the morning and reading a book. Right now, I'm rereading an amazing book called Reality Transurfing, and it's all about different lifelines and how you can select them with your energy. It's written by a quantum physicist from Russia. I like to just learn things, and I think curiosity is very beautiful. And when you stop being online as much and you do things that make you feel more alive, you're doing things like creative things. I've started painting when I'm at home. I love reading. I want to take up knitting. Like, I know it sounds kind of lame, but I love that.
Yeah, you're finding ways to just find joy without numbing yourself all the time, which so many people do. So I thought that was a really great tip to share. The last thing I do want to ask you is, what do you hope to grow your app and your business to? What's your vision for the future of activations?
Oh my gosh. Well, I know how I feel.
Help us embody this feeling.
Okay. It's big. I'm telling you, I'm very good at manifesting many things in my life, but the one thing that I'm very good at manifesting is money. And it's something that I feel so proud of, because it was obviously one of the things that mattered a lot to me growing up. But it's one of the easiest things that I can really tune into. And when I think about money, I think of abundance. And when I think of abundance, I think of unlimitedness. So in my future with my business, it's like nothing is off the table. I'm going to feel this abundance and this impact and feel so proud. Like, I feel a lot of pride when I think about the future of my business, because it's like not many businesses can grow from word of mouth alone the way that we have. It just shows that this is something people really wanted and needed and had a need for. And I just feel so proud, especially seeing all of the stories every single day. We have users write in like crazy things that have happened to them since using the app. And it's like, that feeling is extremely fulfilling. So it's this feeling of pride from that, and then abundance from the wealth that I have received from it. And nothing is off the cards when it comes to that. So the future of my business, I want to continue going in the direction that we're going. I want to continue being so focused on creating content with amazing composers and doing my own research on how transformation can be easier and easier for people, and really just putting all of my effort into creating these transformative activations for people. So I think about that, and we're actually in the process of hiring a CEO right now for my business. I want to step away from like a lot of the day-to-day stuff and really just solely focus on the activations and the vision. So we're in a place we're extremely excited about with that. We've never raised money. I've bootstrapped the business myself. I don't know if we ever want to raise money. I like having control. But at one point, maybe I'll sell a portion of the company and get some sort of like lump sum. But I always want to be involved. It's my baby. I really think that I used to think maybe I'll sell it all one day, but I'm now starting to think, oh, I really just, this is like why I'm here. So we're doing things quite unconventionally, and the business, it's like this beautiful flywheel of like helping people being financially free, and then us ourselves seeing even more abundance from that, because the value people receive from a membership, like, is so much greater than what it costs. And I think that's the perfect balance as a business owner. When you have an amazing product and it's affordable and people see more value than what it costs, and you're feeling like it's worth it for you as well, it's this like really amazing relationship. And yeah, so that's what I see with the business. But I'm getting married in July. And I do want to thank you so much. I see a new era of my life unfolding after that. I really want to be a mom. I keep having these like visions of me as a mother, and I'm excited for that next era. So yeah, that's kind of what's next.
That's exciting. I love that. Real quick, you mentioned you're so good at manifesting wealth and money. What tips do you have for listeners? I feel like that's the one thing that everybody like would love to be able to manifest better.
I feel you. And I was there. I remember, being so broke and then having a bill and not being able to pay it. And I remember, missing the bus to go to my juice bar job when I was in London, and had to call my sister who was in Australia at the time. And I asked her if I could borrow $8 for an Uber or something. It was under $10. And she ordered me an Uber X from the bus stop to go so I wasn't late for my job. Like, I'd remember things like that. Like, I really do. And so I definitely have sympathy for that feeling, because that feeling of lack is like just so not what you want to feel. But we actually created this new category on activations called targeted visualizations. And we have ones that are specifically for either manifesting a certain income or just a certain lump sum. And they go from like, let's say, manifest $5,000 up to like manifest $100 million. Okay. So we have for every single, type of lifeline you want to select. And you also want to make sure that it feels attainable for you, because if you really deeply don't believe that you can make $100 million, then do not select that one. It's actually not going to be effective. You want to make sure there's some sort of belief still. But I think that the feeling of abundance can just become so natural to you. And if you listen to one of the the targeted visualizations, like the manifest, let's say $100,000 one, okay, you'll feel the frequency that we've like permeated into the audio. Like, it's very difficult if you listen to this activation with your headphones on. And if you have noise canceling headphones, even better. But if you listen to this, you will tune in to that frequency of abundance quite easily. You just have to open up your mind. And my tips with manifesting wealth, it's the same tips I've been saying over and over again in this episode. It's like you really need to embody the frequency, the energy. And how to do that, I didn't know how before. It was like only if I had found inspired action, or if there was a part of a song that I kept rewinding. That's why I created activations, because it's like these long audios that keep you in that state for a long period of time. Also, journaling about it can help you if you don't want to listen to something. If you want to write about it, that can get you into the state of abundance. Like, even if you just free write and you have one prompt that you ask yourself, it's like, how does it feel to have $100,000 in my bank account? What would I do with it? And you could just play around with this fun thought, and you're journaling and you're writing, and you're like, okay, I have $30,000 of it in a high yield savings account. I have $30,000 of it in the S&P 500. I'm investing it. I'm going to use $10,000 for my own pleasure. I'm going to go out for nice dinners. I'm okay with $5,000 of this. I'm going to go to a spa with my sister this weekend. Or if you want to keep it all in your account, even more of a wealth mentality. But you just kind of act as if, and you play around with how it would feel being in this lifeline. And then the more that you think and feel like you're in this lifeline, the more that you step into this lifeline. So it's just have fun with it. Listen to things that make you feel that way, dress in a way that makes you feel that way. You don't need to have all the designer things. Just hold yourself in a high regard and wear things that feel good to you. And you can look in the mirror and tell yourself, how you want to feel. Sometimes I'll put affirmations on a Post-it note on my water bottle, or, this is back when I was really actively transforming, and maybe I'll put a Post-it note with just a one-line sentence reminding me of my future self in my bathroom mirror. And I would look at yourself in the mirror. Not many of us are able to really get this familiar feeling and look at ourselves and not feel cringe and really just be I love you. Thank you for creating this abundance for me. It feels so great to have wealth. I'm able to help the people I love. I'm able to have the things I want. I'm able to feel the sense of freedom. I'm so grateful, really tuning gratitude into it. It's feel that heart expansive feeling of love for the abundance that you have. Love your money, feel so happy and joyful for it. And I think if you just do that, the more you do it, the more familiar it becomes. And the more familiar it becomes, the more you create it.
Beautiful. All right, Mimi. Lastly, where can we find you online?
Okay, so as I mentioned, kind of not on Instagram, but if you want to, if you want to see if I post updates here and there, my Instagram's at Mimi Bouchard, and I'm actually releasing my first ever book called "Activate Your Future Self" with Hay House in April. So if you guys want to pre-order that, feel free on Amazon. You can probably pre-order it. And if you guys want to try out activations for 2 weeks free and with a massive discount on your yearly membership to make 2025 your year, go to activations.com/TLL, and you can actually see Aileen's favorite activations. I think we're going to put a playlist of your favorites on there so you can see which one Aileen's listening to, and you can try it out risk-free. Just try it for 2 weeks. We really wanted to do a longer extended free trial and also a money-back guarantee because we don't want to force people into anything. We just want you to experience the magic of activations yourself. Just try it. And if you don't like it, then you can cancel. If you forget to cancel, you can get your money back. It's a very low barrier to entry. Just try it, see how it makes you feel, stay consistent with it, and know that we have so much on the app for everyone. Some categories are more music and affirmations. Other categories, like the walking ones, are more of this amazing story that you get brought through. And we have different music in different categories. Our workout categories, more fun music to amp you up. Our getting ready in the morning category, we have everything from jazz to soft. We have everything under the sun. So check it out, see if it's for you. We have a New Year's challenge in there if you want something more guided. Just go check it out for free. And I know that you're going to love it. This is one of the best tools that you can use to make your 2025 the best year yet.
Totally. It's totally the perfect time to start a new habit and to just try something new. And what I love about activations is you can literally listen to them anywhere, anytime, while walking, while cooking, while getting ready, while cleaning. And it really just fills up your space and your day with such bright, beautiful, positive energy that I think it's just so worth it to try it out. So we have that link in the description down below, activations.com/TLL. All right. Thank you everyone for listening. Thank you, Mimi, for being here and sharing your wisdom. I am just so inspired to get more in that energy, right, of your future self. So thank you for sharing.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to come on your podcast.